Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Ajay Solkhe, presently working as Assistant Professor, University School of Management, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra, Haryana. In this module, we are going to discuss the preamble of Indian Constitution and labour legislation, fundamental rights and labour legislation, directive principles of state policy and labour legislation. The Indian Constitution. Constitution is the supreme law of nation and all legislations draw their inspiration from it. Constitution is a document of social revolution casting an obligation on every instrumentality including the judiciary to transform the status quo ante into a new human order in which justice, social, economic and political will inform all institutions of national life and there should be equality of status and opportunity to all. The trinity of Indian Constitution, that is the preamble, the fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy, embody the fundamental principles which provide guide to all legislations, including the labour legislations. This constitutional trinity assures its citizen to provide socialistic pattern of society and create a welfare state, and all legislations, especially the labour legislations, they are deeply influenced by them. Preamble of Indian Constitution and labour legislation. The importance and utility of the preamble has been pointed out in several decisions of our Supreme Court, though by itself it is not enforceable by the court of law. The preamble states the objectives which the Constitution seeks to establish and promote. The preamble to our Constitution serves two purposes. It indicates the source from which it derives its authority. It starts the objectives which it seeks to establish and promote. The preamble states to secure all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, equality of status and of opportunity, fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of a nation, and lastly, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. These principles enshrined in preamble of our Constitution provide the bedrock for framing all labour and social legislation and their progressive and creative interpretation in favour of working classes. These principles run through our labour legislation like invisible golden threads and provide them strength and stamina to meet the aspirations of working classes. Whether it is protective legislations, social security legislations, welfare legislations or even industrial relations legislations, they all heavily lean towards working classes due to the philosophy provided in the preamble. Fundamental rights and labour legislations. Part 3, Article 14 to 35, they deal with the fundamental rights. They can be grouped together as the right to equality, Article 14 to 18, right to freedom, Article 19 to 22, right against exploitation, Article 23 to 24, right to freedom of religion, Article 25 to 30, cultural and educational rights, Article 29 to 30, right to constitutional remedies, Article 32 to 35. Directive principles of state policy and labour legislations. Article 36 to 51 from Part 4th of the Constitution and they deal with the goal of the economic democracy, the socio-political content of the political freedom and the concept of welfare state. Though earlier decisions of the Supreme Court paid scant attention to the directives on the ground that they are not enforceable in law courts. Later decisions, especially from Keshwanand Bharati case onwards, from Keshwanand Bharati case, the following propositions have come before the courts for consideration. There is no disharmony between directive principles and fundamental rights. They supplement each other. Even fundamental rights cannot be ensured unless directive principles are implemented. Parliament is quite competent to amend or abrogate any fundamental right to enable the state to implement directives. In Minerva Mills versus Union of India case, it was held that directive principles and fundamental rights should be harmonized without considering directives as inferior and subservient to fundamental rights. Similarly, a law which is inconsistent with directives should be regarded as unreasonable, while any action taken to give effect to any of the directives should be regarded as reasonable. It is mentioned in the case of Kasturi versus State of J&K, Supreme Court 1992. Article 38 directs the state to promote welfare of the people by securing and protecting a social order in which justice, social, economic and political shall inform all the institutions of the national life. It directs that state shall in particular strive to minimize inequality in income and endeavor to eliminate inequality in status, facilities and opportunities amongst individuals as well as group of people in different areas and vocations. Article 39. It declares that state shall in particular direct its policy towards securing that citizens, whether men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means of livelihood, that the ownership and the control of the material resources of the community are so distributed as to best subserve the common good, that the operation of the economic system does not result in concentration of wealth and means of production to the common detriment, that there is equal pay for equal work for both men and women, the health and strength of the workers, men and women, and the tender age of the children not be abused, and that the citizens are not forced by economic necessity to enter vocations unsuited to their health and strength. The children are given opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in a condition of freedom and dignity, and are protected against exploitation, against moral and material abandonment. Clause F was modified by the Constitution by way of 42nd Amendment Act 1976 with a view to emphasize the constructive role of the state with regard to children. It has been mentioned in the case of MC Mehta versus State of Tamil Nadu that in view of Article 39, the employment of children within the match factories directly connected with the manufacturing process of matches and fireworks cannot be allowed as it is hazardous. The court further issued certain directions. One is, the court directed for setting up of child labour rehabilitation welfare fund and asked the offending employers to pay for each child a compensation of rupees 20,000 to be deposited in the fund, and suggested a number of measures to rehabilitate them in a phased manner. 2. The liability of the employer would not cease even if after the child is discharged from work. Ask the government to ensure that an adult member of the child's family gets a job in a factory or anywhere in lieu of the child. In those cases where it would not be possible to provide jobs, the appropriate government would as its compensation deposit rupees 5,000 in the fund for each child employed in a factory or mine or in any other hazardous employment. The authority concerned has two options. Either it should ensure alternative employment for the adult whose name would be suggested by the parent or the guardian of the child concerned, or it should deposit a sum of rupees 25,000 in the fund. 4. In case of getting employment for an adult, the parent or guardian shall have to withdraw his child from the job. Even if no employment would be provided, the parent shall have to see that his child is spared from the requirement of the job as an alternative source of income and trust. Income from deposit of rupees 25,000 would become available to the child's family till he continues his study up to the age of 14 years. Point 5. As per child labour policy of the Union Government, the court identified some industries for priority action, and the industries so identified are namely the match industry in Sivakasi, Tamil Nadu, diamond polishing industry in Surat, Gujarat, the precious stone polishing industry in Jaipur, Rajasthan, the glass industry in Firozabad, the brassware industry in Muradabad, the handmade carpet industry in Mirzapur, Bhadohi, and the lock making industry in Aligarh in Uttar Pradesh, the slate industry in Manakpur, Andhra Pradesh, and the slate industry in Mandsaur, Madhya Pradesh for priority action by the authorities concerned. Point number 6. The employment so given could be in the industry where the child is employed, a public sector undertaking, and would be manual in nature, inasmuch as the child in question must be engaged in doing manual work. The undertaking chosen for employment shall be one which is nearest to the place of residence of the family. Point number 7. For the purpose of collection of funds, a district could be the unit of collection, so that the executive head of the district keeps watchful eye on the work of the inspectors. In view of the magnitude of the task, a separate cell in the Labour Department of the appropriate government would be created. Overall monitoring by the Ministry of Labour of the Union Government would be beneficial and worthwhile. Point number 8. The Secretary of the Ministry of Labour of the Union Government is directed to file an affidavit within a month before the court about the compliance of the directions issued in this regard. Point number 9. Penal provisions provided in the 1986 Act will be used where employment of a child labour prohibited by the Act is found. Article 39A directs the state to ensure that the operation of the legal system promote justice on a basis of equal opportunities and shall in particular provide free legal aid by suitable legislation or schemes or in any other way to ensure that opportunities for securing justice are not denied to any citizen by reasons of economic or other disabilities. This article was added to the Constitution pursuant to the new policy of the government to give legal aid to economically backward classes of people. Article 41 directs that the state shall, within the limit of its economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing right to work, to education, and to public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness, and disablement, and in other cases of undeserved want. Article 42 directs the state to make provisions for securing just and humane conditions of work and for maternity relief. Article 43 refers to a living wage and not a minimum wage. The concept of living wage includes, in addition to the bare necessities of life such as food, shelter, and clothing, provisions for education of children and insurance, etc. Article 43A, inserted in Constitution by way of 42nd Amendment, clearly directs that the state shall take steps by suitable legislation or in any other way to secure the participation of workers in management of undertakings, establishments, or any other kind of organizations engaged in any industry. Article 45 required the state to make provision within 10 years for free and compulsory education for all children until they complete the age of 14 years. The object was to abolish illiteracy from the country. In a landmark judgment in Unnikrishnan versus State of Andhra Pradesh, the Supreme Court has held that the right to education up to the age of 14 years is a fundamental right within the meaning of Article 21 of the Constitution. But thereafter, the obligation of the state to provide education is subject to the limits of its economic capacity. The right to education flows directly from right to life, the court declared. Article 46 enjoins the state to promote with special care the education and economic interest of the weaker sections of the people, and in particular of the social tribes and scheduled tribes, and to protect them from social injustice and of all forms of exploitation. Article 47 clearly imposes duty upon the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living of its people and the improvement of public health. In particular, the state should bring about prohibition of the consumption except for medical purposes of intoxicating drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health. Friends, I hope you have understood the contents well. You can also refer to other quadrants of this module for testing your knowledge and having some more input on theme of the module. Happy learning!